feel great.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. They tried everything. They were starving. They tried a little bit of eating everything, and they figured out what you can eat and what kills you. Imagine going through mushrooms and trying to figure out which ones kill you and which ones get you to see God.
Yeah.
They had to figure that out, trial and error.
Could you imagine how many times they had to go through it and go back and go, listen, y'all, I've done this a few times, and I'm pretty confident that there is this thing that grows in a pile of shit.
Yeah.
It makes me feel fucking like God. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, dude. Somebody had to be that guy.
Did you ever hear about John Marco Allegro in the book The Sacred Mushroom and the Scrolls?
Mm-mm.
It's a sacred mushroom. It's a sacred mushroom in the Christian myth. And there's two different... Sacred Mushroom and the Dead Sea Scrolls, I think, is one of them. What are the titles of his book?
The Sacred Mushroom and the Cross.
Sacred Mushroom and the Cross. And then there is another one. There's another one that he released after the Catholic Church allegedly bought out all the copies of the first one to get rid of it.
Wow.
And something in the Christian myth. The Dead Sea Scrolls and the Christian myth.
I read the Dead Sea Scrolls.
So this guy thinks that all of religion is stories about mushrooms. He thinks that the entire Christian religion was about psychedelic mushrooms and fertility rituals.
Mm.
He thinks that what they were doing was they would have these stories, especially when they were conquered by the Romans. They'd have these stories, so they would hide the truth in stories and in allegories and all these different tales. Mm. But he thinks that the entire Christian religion was based on the consumption of psychedelic mushrooms.
I can tell you this, on brand, I mean, I'm a man of faith, but on brand with that is Jesus told stories and he taught in stories.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus never gave a direction. He always was just like, well, and then he'd tell a story, and you would have to figure out. You know what I mean? It was like, okay, this story would show it was always in story form too.
Maybe they knew that was the best way to ensure that people would tell it the same way every time.
Ooh.
Because if you have a story, in the story Noah has an ark, and he brings the animals in the ark, and God tells him he's going to do this, and he's going to do that, and he does it, and then, if you have a story, then that information keeps getting told essentially the same way over and over and over again. Like, we can read the Epic of Gilgamesh today. That's a 6,000-year-old story.
Ooh.
Something like that. 5,000?
Yeah.
We can read that today.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
That's
right? That's crazy. Because it's a story.
Because it's a story.
But if it was just people talking about what you should do or what happened, and like when it's history, man, we can't trust history from the 60s.
Yeah.
History from the 60s, we're finding out new shit every day about the Kennedy assassination.
Yeah.
That was fucking 63, man. 63. That's 51 fucking years ago. That's insane. And we're still trying to figure out what the fuck happened. And this is like with modern, like they had television, they had printing press, they had all these different things. They had accountability, they had elected officials, they had democracy. Still can't figure out what the fuck happened. And that's 63. So imagine trying to figure out what the fuck happened 5,000 years ago. It's like, who knows who's telling the truth? Who knows? You've got to like sort through the rubble and figure out what the facts show. Yeah. But if you have a story, even if it's like there's something hidden in that story.
Right.
And he thinks that that's what the apple was in the Garden of Eden.
That's deep. All that was in story. You think about stories too, is they said, I've never been to the pyramids, but they said that all that stuff on the inside of it is just a story, right? It's all telling a story to
the hieroglyphics.
Yeah,
some of them, sure,
are like telling stories, or when they have the guys chasing these things with the spears, they're like trying to show a story. It's all trying to tell a story, man.
And a lot of mushrooms too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of images then with mushrooms.
I might do mushrooms today. It's my album release day. I'm thinking about it. I don't know if I want to do mushrooms.
God, they should be legal.
I know, right?
God, they should be legal. They should be legal and regulated, and people should figure out what the fuck they do.
Yeah.
Should do a lot of research. Figure out what this is. This might be the thing that gets us out of there. Just a micro-dosing nation that connects together.
I know every time I've went deep, it was life-changing for me. Like, I'll do a lot of mushrooms every now and then, just like, ooh, let's get. But anytime I was like, let's go, it was a life-changing experience every time.
It's funny that people want to reject that as not being important. That's what's really important, is to keep people from like losing their mind and losing their ambition and becoming like the hippies were in the 1960s following Timothy Leary. That's what everybody's worried about. Everybody's worried about like this collapse of society because people, they give up on capitalism and they tune in and drop out, that whole thing. I don't think that's real. I don't think we should be worried about that. I think those people are always going to want to drop out. The people that are to fuck off are always going to want to fuck off. And if you give them an excuse, yeah, they're going to do it. But that's just a style of person. That's not going to affect most people. Most people would benefit, especially if they're not crazy. If they don't have like mental health problems, you'll probably get something out of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's helped me in some of my most depressed moments. If I'm really in a dark spot and can't get out of it, my wife will